Hello, this is AK. I am back. I know that the last video in which I use my own voice to record does not have 600 likes yet. But Victor from the fifth person told me just use your own voice lah. It sounds so much better. Uh, I'm not convinced. I still feel that although many readers like me to use my own voice, it might not be true for most people. In fact, although I got almost 200 likes, I also had quite a few number of dislikes or thumbs down for the last video. Um, I think I will give it more time. Uh, and let the video run for a while more and see how the number of likes add up. Um, anyway, this video is about something I said in my podcast, which I did with the fifth person 2 weeks ago. Um, in life, when we do things, there will be consequences. And some consequences might be unintended. You know, that's why sometimes we have to remember uh, that despite our best intentions, they could be misinterpreted. Okay, so you remember those who watched the podcast I did with the fifth person might remember that I talk about the three words that start with the letter P. And that is an important cornerstone of my philosophy, not just as an investor, but as a person. You know, I've said before that life can be unfair. And in fact, very often life is unfair. Why are some people born rich? Why are some people born with good looks? You know, uh, why? So many whys, right? And there are also some people who might say, why is AK relatively wealthy? You know, like what Rusmin said in the last podcast, that by Singapore definition, I'm a high net worth individual. I think labels like this are not a very good idea. I think they divide people into artificial classes or categories or divisions. I don't like things like this, but the question remains. So is it unfair that I have what I have today, right? And I will be honest with you to say that luck plays a part in life. You know, in Chinese we say things like 7分努力, 3分运气. So 70% hard work, 30% luck. So you might have the best plan in the world, but you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes life will just throw lemons at us, you know. But If people keep thinking that, oh, AK was just lucky, you know, sour grapes. And if the sour grapes just focus on when and how I might have been lucky, then they might have to stay sour forever. They might even turn bad. You know, life, although it can be unfair, it is also fair because unless we have been very unlucky, we are rewarded for good decisions that we make most of the time, which is why I keep reminding myself about the three words starting with the letter P. You know, throughout this recording, you might hear some strange bumping and dragging noises. Like now, there's some knocking noises. That's from my irritating neighbor upstairs. I have to suffer this from time to time. I don't know what he is doing. Uh, See? Anyway, stay prudent. Prudence in personal finance means simply not spending more money than we make. If we are more prudent than most, all else being equal, we will save a big chunk of our earned income, right? And later on, if we make passive income, we will also save a big chunk of our passive income, right? Being prudent, we will keep our needs simple and our wants few to avoid wealth destruction, right? And then I also said that we should be patient, right? And this is something that might be the most difficult. You know, patience is required for most of us to have a substantial amount of money. Most of us, I say. So if you are a very jinsatki person, very successful person in your career, and you make millions of dollars, then this might not apply to you. But of course, my channel and my blog are meant for regular people like me, right? So for regular people, patience is required to save a substantial amount of money. And patience is also required for compounding to work. And patience is also required to build a portfolio of investment that generate meaningful income that hopefully will take care of us well into our retirement, and we might even be able to leave something for the next generation, right? Being patient avoids wealth destruction because we will also learn to delay gratification, right? You know, we see something we like, we don't rush and buy that something right away with money that we have, or worse, with money that we don't have. You know, credit cards, so convenient. So being patient will help in wealth creation. Then be pragmatic. You know, pragmatism in personal finance tells us not to complain that the system is against us. Nothing is against us. It is against us when we think so. You know, feeling sorry for ourselves is rarely helpful. And then if you find people who agree with you and feel sorry for you as well, chances are they also feel sorry for themselves, right? Misery loves company. We should instead see how we could make the system work for us. so that we are more successful in wealth creation. Now, during the podcast with the fifth person, I spoke about these three words, and I use an example of how not to be too optimistic nor pessimistic when it comes to investing in stocks and businesses, but to be pragmatic, right? And I said about how if you like a certain stock and it's trading at like 200 plus, 300 plus dollars per share, and you said, oh, fantastic at that price, I really like it, I think it will do very well, I think it will double, triple in price, whatever. And you empty your entire savings into that one stock. And that one stock is 100% of your portfolio. You sell everything else, put all your money in that stock. You, on top of that, you decide to borrow even more money and put even more money in that stock. And I said that was being overly optimistic. And it's not wrong to say that. And I said, of course, to be fair, that everything is about valuation for a serious investor. When the price falls, fell to below $100 a share and $70, $80 per share, for example, at that price, don't be overly pessimistic. You can buy some, so that again is a fair statement to make. I'm not condemning that stock. I mean, all investments are good investments at the right price. So it's about being pragmatic, right? Uh, Unfortunately, I seem to have stepped on someone's foot by saying something like that. I did not set out to mock anyone, right? I simply use that as a case study, to exemplify how we can be pragmatic and how we should be pragmatic in order to avoid wealth destruction whenever possible. Sometimes bad things happen. Okay, wait a while. I think there's an ambulance. Okay, this one is not too loud. I think we can continue. Oh, now it's very loud. Oh, it's gone. Okay, so where was I? Oh no, I lost my train of thought. Pragmatism, you know. So when we watch YouTube videos, I also said in the podcast, we want to be very selective. We must remember that the people in the YouTube videos and in fact the bloggers, they are just social media influencers. They don't know everything, you know. They might know something, and maybe they know a bit more than we do about some things, but they are not gurus. AK is not a guru. You know, I said before, I blog because I enjoy it. You know, AK is just mental. He likes talking to himself. Actually, it's not even that I like talking to myself. I just can't help it. It's a mental condition. So when people eavesdrop on AK, they want to remember this, right? AK is mental, you know. But in fact, during evening with AK and friends, I also mentioned how we should be pragmatic, right? Um, don't throw in everything, including your kitchen sink, on one single stock. And don't borrow another kitchen sink or two and throw those in as well. 100% of a portfolio in a single stock is not something I would do, no matter how promising I think that business might be. It just isn't good investing strategy, right? In fact, to be honest, it doesn't sound like investing. It sounds more like gambling, you know. And we see when we see YouTubers claiming that they 2 times, 3 times, 5 times their money in a matter of weeks or months, we have to ask questions, right? Whether it's credible or not is one, but this thing, when people make claims, unless you go and investigate and dig out numbers, their personal details and their transactions and all that, you can't really tell. It's easy for me to say something or fabricate something on hindsight, for example, right? So that one, let's not talk about it because it's a waste of time. However, what we can talk about is ourselves. So just because someone can do something like this, we have to question, are we in a position to do something like this? Right. That person might have a lot of money in the first place. He might be very rich in the first place. Right. So if he gets that wrong, it's not going to sink his ship. But if we are not in that kind of position, and we are from rather regular financial kind of background, and we don't have bucket loads of money, then I don't think we should follow. You know, despite being impressed, right? So the fact that, for example, Charlie Munger invested millions of dollars in Alibaba, for example, he lost millions because of his investment, and he later on said that it was a mistake to invest in Alibaba. But he's a billionaire. You know, we cannot just follow blindly. This is one reason also why I am very reluctant to share my portfolio and my investment activities in great detail. I just talk about them in general, very broad sweeps of the brush, and I enjoy sharing my philosophy a lot more rather than my portfolio, you know. Um, so most of us do not have money gushing in, that's for sure. And so for most of us, we have to remember that position sizing is important. So remember the pyramid that I shared in the podcast with the fifth person, right? We have to size our positions according to our own circumstances, right? 100% in one stock, not a good idea. I said before, if we bite off more than we can chew, we might choke. And some people actually choke to death. It's not worth it, right? And I say, all of us are happy during good times. Then we forget, you know, how bad things could be. You know, I mean, that's just one example. There's also many stories about people losing a lot of money because of cryptocurrencies. When the cryptocurrencies were all booming during the very low interest rates environment back during the pandemic. There were people who sold their houses, sold everything they had, monetized everything they had, and dumped everything into crypto. It's in the news, and in Singapore we also have some social media influencers who encourage people to put more money into crypto and how they could stake for higher interest like 6%, 8%, that kind of thing. And I've always said that cryptocurrencies might be viewed as digital assets. But to put money in them thinking they would grow our wealth quickly is not investing. It's more speculating, right? It's gambling. We can invest in the blockchain technology, but not cryptocurrencies. You can certainly trade cryptocurrencies, but I don't think you can invest in cryptocurrencies. But that's another topic for another time. I'm going off track, and the video might turn out to be too long again. But like I said, remember our own circumstances. Self-knowledge is the most important knowledge. And people who are in a position to influence other people should remember that not everyone have the kind of same circumstances that they have. And certain things might be better kept private and not shared with the public, especially especially if they could cause harm to the public. So now I mean, regular readers know. That's one reason why I don't share what I have in detail. What I do share are things that I hope could inspire people to build wealth in a safer and more sustainable manner, and hopefully improve their financial situation, increase their financial security, and make them financially more savvy, and hopefully achieve financial freedom in the end. Okay. And before I end this podcast, I think this is called a podcast. I actually produced another video, a very short video that's less than 3 minutes. That one I use Mr. Angmo, AI generated voice. That was before my last video when I used my own voice. So it's about how I look at REITs as investments, and I will probably let that go live after this video. So if you are wondering why Mr. Angmo got his job back, this is just a heads up, and now you know why. Okay, so that's all for this video. Just know that AK is just talking to himself, right, in the blog, and now in his YouTube channel. I have no intention of offending anyone. I've not named anyone in the podcast I did with the fifth person, I was, you know what the Chinese people say, right? 我是针对事，我不是针对人。So I was going after the not the person, but the way things were done. So I was looking at it as a case study. Okay, so that's all for now. Have a good day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye bye.